Hey guys, welcome back to Biology. I'm Mr. Silverstein. Today we're going to start looking at how to interpret and understand what is on a package of food label. So let me share my screen and let's get started. We've been spending some time learning about macromolecules, the carbohydrates, the lipids, the proteins. And over the past week, you've been tracking your food, determining how much of each one of those macromolecules you've been consuming. But today we're going to learn how to determine what's in packaged foods, and that's going to help you identify your daily food requirements and balance your foods for a healthy diet. So, the first part of what we're going to be doing today is learning how to read a food label. And all too often we eat foods that are based upon desire and flavor. If we like something, we eat more of it. If we don't like something, we kind of stay away from it. But is what you're eating good for your nutritional needs? Let's find out. There are a couple of key label questions. And the first question you want to look at is, how many calories am I actually eating? Is that number low, medium, or high for my particular nutritional needs? What nutrients should I limit or get enough of, and why? And then what's relevant about the footnote in that particular food label? And how can I tell if a percentage of daily value for nutritional purposes is high or low? And the most important one is, which nutrients have no percent of daily value? So this is a food label, and you've seen these before on the sides of packages. And this is a particular sample label for macaroni and cheese. And I'm going to walk you through each step of it. And we're going to start at the top where it says start here. And it says serving size. Now a serving size on this package is 1 cup, but there are 2 servings in this package, which means that all of the information below this line is based upon 1 serving, not the entire package. So the next thing is calories. Per serving of macaroni and cheese has 250 calories, of which 110 of those calories come directly from the fats. You then have some other nutrients. It's going to tell you that there is 12 grams of total fat, or 18% of its daily value. There's cholesterol and sodium. Sodium is salt. We then move down to carbohydrates. 31 grams of this serving is carbohydrate. There's some sugars, 5 grams of sugar, and only 5 grams of protein. Now, they also talk about dietary fiber. That's what helps your body move food through the system and get through your intestinal system. You also want to take a look at what's in the areas of vitamins. Vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium. And the percent daily value is showing what's in there. Then all the way down at the footnote is the percentage of daily value based upon 2 different diet sizes in a day, whether you're on a 2,000 calorie per day diet or a 2,500 calorie per day diet. And that's a typical size diet. Me, at my age and my metabolism, I run about 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day. You, being much younger, may be going through 2,500 or 3,000 calories a day, especially if you're an athlete. So you want to spend some time looking at these labels. Now, are you eating 1 or 2 servings? That's really important. If the package label is giving you all the information based upon 1 serving, you have to realize if you eat the entire package, you're getting double that amount. So what you might have thought was a 250 calorie snack now turned into 500 calories. And if you eat too many calories in a day, you can start to put on weight. If you don't eat enough calories, you'll start to lose weight. So determine how many servings you're having. Now, there's a general guide to calories. Depending upon the serving size, if it's 40 calories, that's a low calorie serving. 100 calories is a moderate calorie serving, and 400 calories would be a very high calorie count per serving. Remember, this is all based upon a 2,000 calorie per day diet. Now, there's some nutrients that you want to limit. The goal is to stay below 100% of the daily value for each of these particular nutrients in a day. Fat. This particular label had 18% fat of the daily value. Cholesterol, sodium or too much salt. Fats are essential to a good diet, but too much fat can contribute to heart disease and high blood pressure. And over time, a high-fat diet can increase the risk of developing cancers, particularly cancers of the colon and breast. So we want to make sure that we keep these nutrients in check along the way. Next, you need to make sure that you get enough of these nutrients. You ideally would like to get 100% of the daily value for each of these nutrients each day. Vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron. The bottom of the label is a footnote, and every label has a footnote showing how that particular food fits into a 2,000 or 2,500 calorie a day diet. And so if we look at this particular label, this macaroni and cheese had total fat of 65 grams, saturated fat of 20 grams, cholesterol less than 300 milligrams, sodium less than 2,400 milligrams, total carbohydrates 300 grams. Now, if you are limiting carbohydrates, 300 grams is a huge amount of carbohydrates. So you're going to watch those labels very carefully. Let's look at this percent daily value. The percent daily value is based upon 100% of the daily value for each nutrient. Note that this table will never add up to 100% because we're only looking at what is the value of that particular item within its total value for the day. So total fat, 18%. Saturated fats, 15%. Total carbohydrates, 10%. Vitamin A, 4%. So this particular food had very low vitamin A and very low vitamin C and virtually no iron. It only had 4%. So this percent daily value is only showing what each percent of the total for each category of that food is having. Now, what's high, what's low, and do you calculate it to know it? Well, you can pretty much start to look at these and interpret what is high or low. So you can learn how to quickly estimate how this food fits into the footnote of the daily value. So for example, if you have a food that has 12 grams of fat and you know that the amount of fat in a 2,000 calorie a day diet shouldn't exceed 65 grams, well, all you do is you take the 12, divide that by 65, and you see that you have 5.4%. So that's in the right particular range. But if you had 50 grams of fat, that's going to be a larger percentage of your total amount of fat available in the day. So watch those carefully, and you can start to determine what's going to work well for you and what won't. Now, the percent daily value does the math for you. And so you want to look at highs and lows. So If this fat was 12 grams and it was only 18% of the daily value, well, that's okay. If you have 4 more of those, then you reach your percent daily value for the day. But if you have 6 or 7 or 8 more items that have 12 grams of fat, you've had too much. You get the general idea. Now, on these quick guides to percent daily value, 5% daily value or less is low, 20% of daily value or more is high. So when you're done with this lesson, I want you to go over to your pantry or your kitchen and take out all kinds of boxes that have different nutritional facts labels on the outside. Even your candy bars have those. If you get a Snickers bar, you'll see that it has those nutritional facts on it. And start to read those and get really comfortable with them. You also want to read the nutritional facts label for total sugars. And this is a really important thing, especially if you're trying to maintain a moderate sugar diet. Let's take a look at these two things. One is for plain yogurt, one is for yogurt that has fruit in it. Well, the plain yogurt, and I'm going to go down the left side, and then we're going to alternate back and forth here. The plain yogurt for 1 serving size has 110 calories. The fruit yogurt has 240 calories. Plain yogurt has 0 fat, whereas the fruit yogurt has 3 grams of fat. But we're going to jump all the way down to the sugar area. Let's look at carbohydrates. The plain yogurt has 15 grams of carbohydrates. The fruit yogurt has 46 grams of carbohydrates, more than 3 times. Sugars, 10 grams on the plain yogurt and 44 grams on the fruit yogurt. So if you need to keep your carbohydrates lower, because maybe you're bodybuilding or maybe you've been on a higher fat diet for long range running, this fruit yogurt may have way too much sugar in it for you. But now you'll be able to take a look at the differences between them. Always watch your sugars. So if we look at the ingredient list also, the ingredient list on all food packages list, and they're required by law to list this, in order of the most ingredient that's in that item. So if we look at the plain yogurt, it has cultured, pasteurized, grade A non-fat milk. And then it has whey protein concentrate, pectin, and carrageenan. The fruit yogurt has cultured grade A reduced fat milk. It has reduced fat milk. It doesn't say non-fat milk. It then has apples. And then on top of the apples, they add high fructose corn syrup. That's where a lot of that sugar is coming from. Cinnamon, nutmeg, natural flavors, and pectin. So let's say you wanted to have some yogurt with some fruit in it. You can take your own apple, slice that apple up, put it in a pan, caramelize it, that's just kind of like cook the apples a little bit, add a little bit of cinnamon to it, and mix it into your yogurt. You'll get great flavor, but you'll end up having half the amount of sugar that you would have than if you had the fruit yogurt. So think about that when you're looking at your food labels. Do you get enough calcium in your diet? If you're young, your bones are growing and you need to have a fair amount of calcium. In this particular label that we're looking at, it shows that this particular food has 30% of the calcium for the daily value. That's really good. And it just has 1 cup with 80 calories. Depends upon the food, you have to look at those labels. The calcium calculation. 100% of the daily value of calcium equals 1,000 milligrams of calcium. Now, 30% of the daily value is equal to about 1 cup of milk. 130% of the daily value is what the daily goal is for teens. So because you're growing and your bones are growing, you need to have much more calcium. So it's okay to have more than 100% daily value of calcium. Now, for more information, you can go to the foodanddrugadministration.gov and go to Food, Nutrition, and Educational Resources. And there's also a food label education video that's hooked into this that you can take a look at. Well, we've had a chance to look at food labels, and I hope you got something out of that. Every time you're looking at a food, take a look at that particular food label and see if what's in it is good for you. Well, that's all we have for you on this right now. Next, we're going to go into calculating the amount of foods that you can eat in a day. We'll see you next time.